Welcome, brothers and sisters, generals, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, brother, sister, family in the world, online. I salute you, and be thankful that if we are in the space of being knowledgeable and always call down that great protection from that great divine for those who may be having some kind of challenge and or struggle. And welcome to another EBX and Lord Lamont show, thus EBX discussion. And salute to Lord Lamont. Again, we'll be doing a comedy heavy hitters, father and son discussion tomorrow. If nothing else, get in front of it, so it'll be coming soon or tomorrow. And again, we're going to give a tribute to a brother that's no longer with us. And he was a golden school brother. We've seen him in many movies, and one movie that was a franchise and he was just hilarious off the mic in real life. And he was a real brother, and he'd be forever missed, but never forgotten. So that's who the tribute Ep.2, and we'll speak on other comedians, and we'll speak on the Def Comedy Jam era, which will be the persona on the banner. We'll have the setting of Def Comedy Jam where the audience looking on to the comedian, so we always had that on the banner just to set the tone for those who love to laugh. So look for that. But staying with it and still connecting with Ethan and Lord Lamont, and keeping that family spirit within, because I do have a lot of solitude moments, like to keep to oneself, just being honest, but I never forget those that one is connected to, again, via children, family, brother and sister in the world online, and always willing to teach what one has learned on this beautiful, wonderful path. So again, thank those for coming in and riding along with music. For myself, I just uploaded a video probably an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours ago called Wake Up Music Playlist. Just wanted to share some music. And again, there'll be more music from L'Oreal Lyrical, rest in peace and in power, and my son, Lord Lamont, and as well as myself. So it'll be more Wake Up Music Playlist to come. And again, it'll be L'Oreal Lyrical and Lord Lamont. And I had some affirmations and spoke a little truth in between the songs, again, all genres of music, but those who ride along with this channel know that I love hip hop to the pit of one's soul, but all music though, I like a lot of different kinds of genres, because that's the beautiful thing about educating oneself and passing that, knowledge on to others. So, they can be inspired and be on their journey, because as Lord Lamont and myself always say, everyone is on their own journey, but be thankful if it's a righteous journey, so I say good or bad, but be thankful if it's a righteous path. I be rhyming, I don't be meaning to. Sometimes I just rhyme, and it's part of one's DNA. It comes through my probably my great granddad, but my granddad, of course, because he was musically inclined, and I got a lot of that in one's family. Some musicians, some just lovers of music. So it's wonderful when we can notice that in our DNA. But where does it come from, folks? A great divine and Mama Nature, because we can't leave the two most powerful forces that we'll ever experience in this life. And a lot of us have studied historians and maybe seen people in our families or in life in general that carried that same principle. And we're going to get into that. So without further ado, brothers and sisters, the power of a righteous sister in Queen Nefertiti will be our inspiration. And this is part 2, because I did another one and I said I was going to do this, actually be episode 2, because I said I wanted to do more episodes on Nefertiti. And remember, when we seeking and exploring knowledge, it goes deeper and deeper into that divine rabbit hole. So let's get into it, brothers and sisters. And this is the power of a righteous sister, episode 2. And again, Queen Nefertiti is our inspiration for going deeper into that rabbit hole. And we all know her general husband, Pharaoh, man. So, and the topic today will be Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh energy. And there were a lot of Nefertitis and Pharaohs, so to speak, or those who had Pharaoh energy, and that's brother or sister. And of course, I did do a little research and got a little history, because again, folks, that's what I always say, we leaders and teachers with a student spirit. And I say student spirit because guess what? I'm learning too. It's amazing learning. It's fun to the mental. Thank you, Professor Griff. Salute. Because that's who inspired me to go into that phrase. Real talk. It's fun learning. It really is. Where would we be if we didn't learn? If I didn't start studying, and salute to Nefertiti Asa Ra, because that's who inspired me to go deeper into Queen Nefertiti and the Pharaoh energy. And salute to King Pharaoh, who stood, emphasis on stood alongside his powerful queen Nefertiti. And we got a lot of Nefertiti Pharaoh energy out there, male and female, in the black culture. We've seen it manifest through maybe musicians, and I'm talking about brother or sister, or in our own family. Just someone, we all have met someone that's just has a vibration that's just, their presence alone is just powerful. And remember, folks, when it comes to the sisters, I'm speaking on inner beauty, because as we all know, we can have a sister that's attractive but be toxic is all get out on the inside. That just make your physical beauty ugly. So it comes from deep, as our great philosophers say, deep within that core. Could never get away from that. I know we hear that a lot, but it comes from deep in that divine core, in the bowels of one's soul. Kind of like how they had the slaves when they had to do the oar, what they call it, the oars, when they make the move, to make the ship move. They were in the bowels, the gully of the ship. It wasn't a cruise. They were in the gully, the bowels of the ship. Can you imagine how uncomfortable that was? And you got slaves stacked up on top of each other and can't go to the bathroom. So just play that scenario out in your mind. Imagine going, I don't know much about that. I have to do research on the ocean and the boats and ships and stuff like that. But just visualize it in your mind. Being on a ship at the bowels of it. Again, not a cruise, not nothing comfortable. Not something where you're getting catered to. No, something where you're being forced to do. When you got these big ass giant oars that stick out through the sides of the boat into the water. And you got to do this thousands of miles or wherever they call it. They got ocean sands. I don't know the sands, but you know what I mean. Just imagine, just in the bowels of this ship for days, actually, because it took days, to be honest, to get to wherever they was forced to go to. And we have, just imagine, thousands of slaves chained to each other on these benches, these hardwood solid benches that's so fucking uncomfortable. And you got this little terry cloth ass clothes on, and you gotta, move this oar around for days, around in a circular motion for days. Can't go to the bathroom, barely eating. So ponder that. So that's why I honor thy ancestors, and I really appreciate what they went through to get a lot of us where we are. Some people are so fucking ungrateful, but a lot of us are not. We know what it is. So I just wanted to share that. We got to be empathic when it comes to what some slaves went through. So let's get into it. Let's speak on the history of Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh energy, because there were other kings and queens. There were other Nefertitis or pharaohs, so to speak. So we're going to get into that, and I want to get into a little history of it. And as I said, folks, I'm learning too. Now, we're going to have a hip hop break. And one of the songs is from L'Oreal Lyrical. Rest in peace and in power. The last one I did, part 1 of The Power of a Righteous Sister, which is on the thumbnail, but in the topic, of course, is Nefertiti and Pharaoh energy. And that's for the brother and the sister. That's why I put both. And the brother plants the righteous divine seed into the sister and create a warrior, brother, a young brother or young sister. It's wonderful. And that can be in many ways, especially when it's spiritual. Man, we can create warriors spiritually where they know the depths of their soul and their intuition is off the charts. Man, our new generation, man, would stomp on the devil. The devil would be at our feet, and it is at a lot of us feet. Devil's a punk, real talk. All right, so let's get into some of the history of other Nefertitis and pharaohs, so to speak, because it wasn't just Nefertiti, Queen Nefertiti or King Pharaoh. There were other kings and queens. There were warriors also. So I want to shed a little light on them, and there were many. So I came up with as many in my spirit and research as I possibly could. So we're going to get into it. And remember, some of the names are unique and long. So if I fumble them, forgive me, because some of the names I've never said in one's vocabulary. So again, I'm learning too. Remember, we're leaders and teachers with a student spirit. And I so appreciate those who comment, ride along, whether you interact or not. If you just engage and take the time out of your day, I appreciate you. You know, if it's for a few minutes or the whole podcast, I appreciate it. You know, never ever forget what we started this righteous cause for in the first place. That's what Great Divine put in my heart and my nature. That's a vow I made. I'd never ever, even though I might make mistakes too, because I'm human, but I'd be damned if I let the fucking devil win, you know, because again, those of us that are generals, whether we got a platform or not in life, we've been through too much. So we're going to draw from Queen Nefertiti and that Pharaoh, that King Pharaoh energy today. So let's get into it. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. And of course, when I get done, I'm going to probably read a few summaries of history, or maybe 2 or 3. And then we're going to get into the hip hop break. All right, let's go. Leaders and teachers and generals, you know, let's draw that energy from Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh energy. Let's go. Black kings and queens, primarily from the Nubian kingdom of Kush, ruled Egypt, aka Kemet, during the 20th dynasty period, often referred to as the Black Pharaohs. Remember, there were a lot of pharaohs, brother and sister. These rulers including Pi. Remember, some of these names are, you know, a little challenging to say. Okay, here we go. Piye. Pi, that was one of the rulers. Taharqa, Taharqa. Taharqa and Shubaka, Shabaka, unified the Nile Valley from the modern day Sudan to Egypt, aka Kemet, building impressive pyramids and restoring traditional Egyptian monuments. So they fought to keep the legend alive, so to speak. I'm just summing it up like that. But again, if one researches, again, I was speaking on the Wake Up Music playlist about every black person need to study the hieroglyphics that's on Egypt walls, aka Kemet. We could learn a lot about. They was way above and beyond. We think this technology is advanced. They was so far advanced in this shit. It's this AI and this technology is nothing compared to our brothers and sisters who were king pharaohs. They was way ahead of their time. Real talk. So this stuff that we're experiencing now, this technology has been here. It's new to us. Real talk when you break it down. All right. So let's get into the second summary of our King Pharaohs or Queen Nefertiti that also existed other than the ones that we know of, you know, Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh. All right, let's go. Remember, I'm learning too. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. Key black rulers in the 24th dynasty. Kushite dynasty. Okay, Kushite I think it's Kushite. Kushite. Kushite dynasty. Piye, that name I just read a little while ago, Piye, initiated the dynasty, invading and uniting Egypt, aka Kemet, under his rule. Shabaka, Shabaka, consulted, rule, and focused on culture preservation, including building and rebuilding temples. Beautiful. Shebitaku, Shebitku, Shebitku maintained Kushite dominance and continued to bolster power. Beautiful. Okay, the other name I was pronouncing, Taharqa, Tharqa. Taharqa, often viewed as the most powerful. He was a prolific builder, specifically at Karnak, that's Karnak, Karnak, and a fierce military leader. Wow, dope. See, there were others that had that Pharaoh energy also. And what is beautiful, many sisters that was like Queen Nefertiti, they matched the King Pharaohs with that same energy. That's beautiful. How many sisters is doing that other than twerking and popping their ass out here on this fucking social media? You kidding me? You know, that's a part of, as I said, dancing is a part of art too, but know our true power, not just shaking our ass on the fucking camera. Real talk. We gotta get past that shit. Again, we have fun, enjoy, but stick to our true power, and know really what it is. Real talk. So that was some history one wanted to touch on. So, and that's beautiful. It really is. Again, there's a lot more I gotta learn, but once we get started, I'm telling you, we'll hunger for more knowledge and share it to others, because some people are not aware. We got some that get there soon, some get there later, but we better get there in the right amount of time so it can be beneficial to our generation, whatever, if they're close to us or any generation we're close to. Pass off that knowledge. Even if they act like they're not listening, say it anyway. It'll get into their subconscious. All right. One more summary, and then we're going to get to this hip hop break. All right, let's go. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. That name I pronounced before. Karnak, Karnak, and a fierce military leader, what I spoke on. Tamani, okay, that's another name. Tantamani. Tantamani. Let me see. Tantamani. We're going to say it like that. Tantamani, the final noble ruler who sought to maintain the empire against Assyrian expansion, according, to that. That was another leader. Okay, let's read it again, because let me see. The final noble ruler who sought to maintain the empire against Assyrian, Assyrian, against Assyrian expansion. All right. Other prominent individuals with Nubian black ancestry. Queen Tiye. That's another sister. Okay. Queen Tiye, which is Tiye. Now, if I'm saying these names wrong or quoting them wrong, please forgive me. Okay. Queen Tiye, Tiye, wife of Amen Hotep. Amen Hotep the third. Amen Hotep the third. Okay, that was the husband of Queen Tiye. Okay, at Amen Hotep the third, and grandmother of Tutankhamun. Qaman. Yep, Tutankhamun. Okay, Tutankhamun. All right, the grandmother of Tutankhamun. Her status indicate Nubian ancestry. Beautiful. Amos Nefertari. Amos Nefertari, 18th dynasty. And let me go back to Queen Tiye, which is Tiye, 18th dynasty also. All right, going back. Amos Nefertari, 18th dynasty, often depicted with dark skin. She was a very powerful queen, revered as a goddess. Salute. See what I'm saying? There were other queens, Nefertitis and pharaohs, so to speak. So that's what we're speaking on today, that Nefertiti and pharaoh energy. We got a lot of Nefertiti and pharaohs out here. Real talk. So that's what we got to focus on. Go to the roots, where we come from, brothers and sisters. Egypt, aka Kemet. We could learn a lot. Now, there's a lot of things we can learn about our black culture, but I would say Africa overall and Kemet, parts over there in Kemet. Remember, if I make a mistake on something, forgive me, because I'm learning too. It's things I didn't study or paid attention to for a long, long time. But it's beautiful when we do. We pass that information on to our young Nefertiti, and our young pharaohs out there, young brother, young sister, and so they can know their true power. Because a lot of us, we finally, emphasis on finally, know our true power. So again, I salute Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh and all Nefertiti and pharaohs out there, because there were a lot. It really were. So all right, so let's get to this hip hop break. And I got a couple more summaries. Well, one more summary. And I always have spell breaker statements. I'll have 4 of them. And I'll salute your divine warriors on to your divine life. So as you see, got the African drums in the intro. And gotta have a warrior spirit deep within while we balance happiness, joy, and fun at the same time. But a general or a warrior at the core. Real talk. So again, I thank thy ancestors for never giving up, and fighting for who great divine called them to be, and have the right to be. Real talk. As well as the great Mama Nature, who's gotten a lot of us to the point we're in. All right, so let's get to this hip hop break. Let me see. I always have a hip hop stimulation break. Got my little coffee here, and it's a little windy in the Milltown. I said that's the only thing about the Milltown, boy. I tell you, whether it be beautiful one day and windy the next, and cold one day and warm the next, but that's how Mother Nature is. We can't control nature, even though there's wicked entities that try. You can't control Mama Nature or that great divine once it's embedded deep in our soul. And that's brother, sister, family, general, a warrior that ain't taking no shit from no punk ass devil, like our Queen Nefertitis and our King Pharaohs did. Real talk. So I played this song before, but it's called Love Being Black. If I transition, went away, came back, I still be black. There's a lot of us that feel like this, because it's a lot of great qualities and skills. And again, the first scientists, the first inventors were black, whether they were brother or sister. So let's get to this song. And the next one is by L'Oreal Lyrical. May rest in peace and in power. And a song she made called Be a Lady. Because whenever we're presenting a sister on the banner and or thumbnail, like the beautiful Queen Nefertiti, got to have that feminine energy also. Because that's what Aten, the sun god, I had made a mistake on. I thought it was a feminine god, but it's actually the sun god. Because that's what Nefertiti and many pharaohs, that's what they worship, the sun god. And it was a balance of feminine energy and masculine energy. And again, we never mix the two, because whenever you mix the two, I don't care. Again, we take this free will. This God give us free will. We take it the wrong way. If you go against nature, you're going to have complications down the road. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So go against nature all you want to. Let me know how that work out. Because, again, great divine and Mother Nature rules all this shit at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck who we think we are. Real talk. And Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh, they knew that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why they were the rulers. They were. As many as other great warriors that was right there with them. Some of them, some warriors and generals back in the Kemet times, we don't hear about in the history books, So that's what a searching and exploring comes in, and pass that torch on to our next generation so they can be Nefertitis and pharaohs. All right. So the next song, I got to get to it. Let me see. Yeah, it's a little windy outside today. I can hear it. Yep. Let me see. Well, the first song, not the next song. The first song is I Love Being Black, and it has Black King on the banner of a song I did on the audio. And the Wake Up Music playlist, that's what's on the banner. Black King, but that represents Black Queen and Black King, because I love being black. I would never want to be nothing else. I don't give a damn how challenging it is. I love it, because there are great things that come from it too. So be back after this. Love being black. Wake up music. Yeah. I love being black. If I went away and I came back, I still be black. And that is a fact. I love being black. If I transition, I went away and then I came back, I still be black. And that is a fact. Salute to all my black kings that standing our ground and doing our thing. I'm standing like a soldier, no time to sing. Wrong things in our heart and stay off the scene. Observation and stay deep up in the soul. Keep on having meditation for my sisters and my bros. My family too, man, we gotta make it through. Yeah, good things, positive, can't have no blues. Got to have clarity all up in our brain. Gotta stay focused in this life while we on this plane. Yeah, I'ma do what I gotta do to make it through, because I want my brothers and sisters to win and never lose. Seeing clear in this life, never be confused. Yeah, put that good energy in my families and my dudes. Yeah, we the black kings, yeah, the rulers of this earth. Yeah, gotta have good in and never ever hurt. Man, I love being black. If a transition, a man that went away, I still be black, and that is a fact. Salute to my brothers and sisters and family. Man, I love being black. If I went away, man, and I came back, I still be black, and that is a fact. Salute to my black kings and my sisters that's out here standing on facts. Yeah, I keep on pushing through, cause of what the great divine called me and all of us to do. Gotta stick to the truth. It's something that's a fire in the belly and the soul. Man, that keep us going. Mother Nature keep us on the go. Never stopping never is a no option. Yeah, fuck the devil, cause we now see I'm touching the whole world. Man, just agree to agree, and gotta watch out for the real enemy. Man, I love being black, and that is a fact. If a transition, a man I went away, and I came back, I still be black, and that is a fact. Salute. Real talk, that is a fact. I mean that shit. Real talk, I mean that shit. I would never want to be nothing else. You know, real talk. People who are ashamed of their black skin, man, fucking shame on you. Real talk. That's a slap in the face. Real talk. Much shit we been through. Are you fucking kidding me? Real talk. So, all right. Got a little hyped up, you know. Because it's great things. You just got to search for it. You know, you can't look at what's being thrown out here and stay away from these trends and shit like that. Meditate. Get into and/or deep prayer. Get to know your blackness. You know, my Queen Nefertitis and my King Pharaohs out there. Because I know they out there. Everybody has as far as a brother, a sister, and a brother. Everyone has a Queen Nefertiti or King Pharaoh spirit in them. Real talk. Yep. And our Kemet warriors, brother or sister, is a prime example of that. Spirit still amongst us today. Just think of Queen Nefertiti on the banner here. Now just think of how long she hasn't been on this planet. As many other historians in her time, or you know, a little after her, or before her, or during the time she was alive, as well as King Pharaoh. That's power. And they history of their life is still a stamp, you know, in our black culture right now today. That's powerful. You know, we all gonna be ancestors one day. So what kind of legacy or power, what will we leave behind? That's what's important. You know, the present, the righteous present, a fire warrior present, always and forever ultimately bring a warrior future, general future, you know, as we come into our golden years. Firm, but gracefully. It's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful when we true to our warrior spirit, like our ancestors was. I so thank them for that, man. All right, let's get to the next song. Speaking of ancestors, rest in peace and in power. L'Oreal Lyrical, you know, who was phenomenal, as I always say. And she tapped in to her Nefertiti spirit because she was intelligent as all get out. Again, this computer shit was nothing to her. She knew all this shit. It was nothing. Yep, so let's get to it. And she made a song called, she was musically inclined, she was educated, she was street smart. Yeah, my sister was, she was a bad mother hubber, real talk. All right, and she missed, but never forgotten, real talk. All right, so let's get to the next song. Be a Lady, song she made. You know, just be a lady, real talk. Be back after this on some more summaries on our Queen Nefertiti energy, Queen Nefertiti and Pharaoh energy. Be back after this.
Yes. L'Oreal. Confined by my mind, trust issues make me a beast. Communications are minimal. I rarely speak in cell phones. I peek insecure a little bit. Try hard to dismiss little shit from exes. Yet I'm human, and here I am, your lady. Dark brown, natural crown, highly educated. In serving God and making ways for a family. Maybe not today, but one day if you a baby. On my DB bop, so I'm opinionated. If you need to hold something, I'm calculating. While you take my cash, run it to the strip club. A man of rapid lust, then the rugged build trust. Ain't got the nerve to tell me that I don't understand. When the truth is my generation's full of weak men. Staying at home while the kids is at daycare. Only giving up dick to keep his place there. I'm your lady, tell me can you provide? Step up to the plate, all in, just thrive. Hey, I'm your lady, can you even protect me? Girl, I'm having money, but can you keep a family? I'm your lady, tell me can you provide? Step up to the plate, all in, just thrive. Hey, I'm your lady, can you even protect me? Girl, I'm having money, but can you keep a family? Cry on the second verse, I know it hurts. I done did it all to show this man my worth. I could give him the word and he be like a spaceman. Where my men with ambition is self-sufficient. Is you listening? I'm wishing you may get it together. Signed your lady forever. No, I'm not bitter. Simply painting you this lyrical picture. Can you see it? Fatherless children. Opposition is weak. You can't stand on your own 2 feet. Presenting the problem, that man becoming the father. Raising the son with no more. Repeating the pattern. Time to get it together. Changing your family for better. I'm seeking pleasure from these women who don't know no better. They tell me that I don't understand. When the truth is my generation's full of weak men. Staying at home while the kids is at daycare. Only giving up dick to keep his place there. I'm your lady, tell me can you provide? Step up to the plate, all in, just thrive. Hey, I'm your lady, can you even protect me? Girl, I'm having money, but can you keep a family? I'm your lady, tell me can you provide? Step up to the plate, all in, just thrive. Hey, I'm your lady, can you even protect me? Girl, I'm having money, but can you keep a family?
Real talk, man. You hear what she was saying in there, and I'm telling you, she was aware. She real talk. You heard what she said. You know, the baby's at daycare while you staying home. In other words, for these brothers that's healthy, you know, and nothing wrong with them, and they're aware and living off women, shame on you, especially if you're a grown ass man. Come on now, you know, and you know, you can't blame, you know, because you do have sisters out here that maybe be, you know, talk down on brothers and stuff like that. But some of it is true. Some of it might be a little bitterness or whatever, but some of it is true because some brothers do be grown and living off these women. You know, I actually heard a brother made a podcast about that actually. And, you know, I don't think I've ever really been like that. I think I've always pretty much, you know, kind of handled my own, so to speak, through the mix of my challenges because I live with people too, but I've always been respectful, you know, as much as I could, you know, when I was aware because, of course, I had those times when I was young when I did stupid shit. But, you know, when one start growing and becoming aware, you know, you become a little more respectful. But, you know, some don't reach that point, you know, especially when it comes to brothers or men in general. You know, living off a woman, you should be ashamed of your damn self, especially if you're an able-bodied man. So that's what she was saying in that song. You know, you talking about you got money, but can you keep a family? You know, are we disciplined psychologically in that core of our soul? Because it will come out. I used to say, it don't matter what we are. I'm talking about a healthy human being, mind, body, and soul, and you know nothing's wrong with them or no handicaps. That's what I mean. I'm not, because sometimes we have things we can't control or events that happen that are out of our control. Well, I'm talking about those who are healthy and you know nothing wrong with them. You know, if you harbor wrong things or you're planning evil and you're plotting, it's gonna come out sooner or later. Because that's one of the powers of great divine and mama nature. You know, whether it's sooner or later, it will always draw out what's in the core of our soul, you know, whether it's good or bad, you know. So it's just ridiculous. You know, I call it grown adolescence. You know, you living off a woman. That's definitely not no King Pharaoh spirit at all. Because again, I never forget what I read in that summary, the first episode where it said King Pharaoh. That is so important. You know, he stood alongside her. That just stood out to me. You know, he wasn't the boss over her. He didn't rule her, alongside her. And she did the same thing. And it wasn't a scared thing. It wasn't fear. They both understand, overstand, and understood each other's power. Balance, brothers and sisters. And that's how they were able to rule and keep their, their continent. You know what I'm saying? I might be saying that wrong, but you know what I mean. To keep Egypt, aka Kemet, intact. As you heard me read through a couple of those summaries before the hip hop break, So yeah, it's just wonderful knowing, the power we truly possessed, even before this technology shit. And again, if black people would study the hieroglyphics, they show you in those hieroglyphics things that would come, that they would steal our power and our education and our knowledge and take it for themselves. But that's kind of turning around, because a lot of us are seeking and digging deep into that divine rabbit hole. Because again, I always say, Great Divine always send or bring warriors or generals along our path, whether it's through our family, through a child, brother and sister in the world, online. It goes back to what, folks? The circles we're running in, what we're viewing, what we're seeking, what we're entertained by, our weaknesses, our strength. We got to know these things, because Great Divine, Mama Nature, don't play. You call yourself spiritual, you better be real, because those two forces will test your ass. Real talk. I always say those are the most loving, gentlest forces, but also will spank that ass, sooner or later. So go against it all you want. You're not sneaking shit, Great Divine Mama Nature is the author of patience and time, known us since birth. So you're wasting your time if you think you're ruling anything with a malicious intent. You're never going to get anywhere. All right. So just be righteous right where we are, be an upright human being, and the deep spiritual will come automatically. That's how the principles of that Great Divine Mama Nature work. All right. So let's get back to the Nefertiti and Pharaoh energy. Yep. Power of a Righteous Sister, Episode 2. And again, King Pharaoh is our energy, but of course, our inspiration today is the feminine energy of that strong, bold, powerful energy of Queen Nefertiti. And I got to reiterate, it's more than just physical looks. It has to be an inner beauty. Okay, I got to put emphasis on that, because I don't give a damn how you look on the outside. If you're toxic within, you're going to be ugly on the outside. Real talk. And a real true brother, we know this. All right. But it's not to down or discourage. It's to help sisters find their true beauty within them, because it'll benefit them in the future. All right. So that's what it's about. Generating Nefertiti and Pharaoh energy. All right. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. I'm going to read this summary and about 4 spell breaker statements. And again, I'm going to salute your divine word zone, your divine life. And again, thank L'Oreal Lyrical for having substance in her music, and you listen to that song, you can hear she was dropping jewels in there. So she was very aware, like I said, she was street savvy. She had that Nefertiti energy. Real talk. It's just this world, man. It's this fucking world sometimes. All right. Yep. But again, she's missed but never forgotten, as well as others in my family that I held dear. In anybody's family we held dear. May they rest in peace and in power. All right, let's go. Now, I read this name before the hip hop break, but I'm going to read it again. Ahmose Nefertari. Again, Ahmose. And it's Nefertari. All right, 18th dynasty. I'm going to read it again. I know I read it before. I'm going to read it again. Often depicted with dark skin. This was the queen. She was a very powerful queen, revered as a goddess. As seen. That is so dope. So she was just as powerful as Nefertiti. And I love learning these different names. Wonderful. Yep. That's why I'm telling you, that's why wicked scientists, they had to know, because, what brothers and sisters don't realize, we had our own language. We even had our own divine system that they couldn't penetrate at one time. But you know what happened? And it's unfortunate. It's always one melanated person that lets that one wicked entity in and fuck up the whole thing. That's the problem. Real shit. All right. But they were powerful, and everybody was locked in, as far as this, what I'm reading. So salute to Amos Nefertari. I like that. I wonder if she was related. 18th dynasty. I wonder if she was related to Nefertiti. Wow, that's dope. Well, she is. We all brothers and sisters are related. Actually, yep. Another brother, a brother and sister from another father and another mother. Real talk. All right. Now I read this person's name, but I'm gonna read it again. No, yep. But this is the second. All right. Remember I read the name before the hip hop break. Okay, Mentu Hotep. Okay, but this is the second. Remember the other one was the third. Okay, Mentu Hotep the second, 11th dynasty, a warrior king, which was a pharaoh, credited with reunification, meaning reunification, who had clear southern Nubian traits, as mentioned. Wow. So they were hitting all parts of Kemet. So I think they were hitting the north. I could be wrong now. I'm just kind of speculating. They were hitting the north, south, east, and the west from what it sounded like. So, but I could be wrong. But I know it was the south and the north, if I'm not mistaken. So again, I got to do research too. All right. These rulers were not outsiders in the traditional sense, but part of a long, interconnected Nile culture. So they had range. They spread to a lot of parts, bringing stability and rival of traditional pharaonic, I like that, pharaonic culture during their reign. I like that. PHARAONIC. I love that. Pharaonic culture. How many of us even say that? See, this is why I love learning. Pharaonic culture. Wow, that is dope. So that energy was so magnetic and powerful. Even the sisters were warriors. That's awesome. How many of our sisters are warriors right now? Real talk. We got a few. But, of course, we don't see a lot of the righteous and positive. Well, our underground brothers and sisters, we know who the righteous warriors are. But those on the surface who twerking and popping and doing selfies and look at me, I'm telling you, what are we going to do when the grid go down? Ponder that, I'm not scared to think about shit like that, and it makes you want to, it makes you think, So, all right, that was the last of the Queen Nefertiti and King Pharaoh energy, because that's what one is putting out. And again, this is Power of a Righteous Sister, episode 2. I just wanted to go a little deeper into brothers and sisters had that Pharaoh energy, 25th dynasty of black pharaohs, man, and that's brother or sister. And that Pharaoh energy transformed into Queen Nefertiti energy. So again, thank those for coming in to another EBX and Lord Lamont show, thus EBX discussion. And again, look for the heavy hitters, father and son discussion that my son and I will be doing tomorrow if nothing interferes with it. All right. So and I'm actually do one spell breaker statement. I'm not gonna do 4. And I'm gonna salute your divine warrior zone, to your divine life. And as I sit here and speak, and as I said, this is like a form of meditation and therapy. I got a screen in front of me that's showing the beautiful Egypt, aka Kemet, because I always say when I'm speaking, I always have a big screen in front of me. It either shows nature, and I'm not talking about AI generated either. I'm talking about real video footage of nature and Africa. Right now, I'm looking at Egypt, aka Kemet, so I can get that Kemet energy. It's just been in my spirit, So again, salute to those who ride along with the brother, whether you engage. Whether you interact or not, if you engage for a few minutes or the whole podcast, I appreciate what one gets, But keep on, because remember, we got to remember what we started doing this for in the first place: to educate, suggest, teach, or give advice, brothers and sisters. So again, salute to my family, brothers and sisters in the world online. Those who may have struggled, may that great divine be in our life and help us see a better way, search inside for the best solution possible. And again, salute to warriors I have come across in my life, whether family, brother and sister in the world online. All right. So I'm going to salute your divine general zone with this quote, and have a great life and stay vigilant. So let's go. One chooses to focus on the present and not worry about the future. That goes back to what I was saying a little while ago. We can't be afraid of thinking of, if the grid go down or things are, it's not about being daunting. It's about being aware, stay ready so we don't have to get ready. That's what it's all about, brothers and sisters, real talk. So, we got to have them hard truths in life. That's what make us get our asses in gear, real talk, all day long. So we treat our mind, body, and soul like Taekwondo. Salute. This has been brought to you by Great Divine and Mama Nature. Salute, Queen Nefertiti. And salute, King